The Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is very grateful to Cosmos Innovation Center for inviting us to be part of this wonderful program today. As rightly said, I'm representing our DJ, who equally is engaged elsewhere. And this morning, I want to run you through the CSIR, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the technologies we have developed over the years. And these technologies stem from agro technologies all the way through agribusinesses that we have. And I will be very generous to give you some photos, visual expression of these technologies, so that you'll be enriched in your program that you have on this AgriTech Exchange. Which one is that? Okay, that's good. Okay, good. Most times when you speak to people, they say, we haven't heard about CSI before. We haven't heard about the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. I just want to give you a short profile on the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Then I'll look at the institutes that we have at CSIR. Then I'll look at the research developments that we have, and then the international collaborations that we have as at now. The Council, which we call the Council for Scientific Industrial Research, was established in 1968 by NLCD 293. It was amended by NLCD 329 of 1969 and re-established by CSIR 521 in 1996 and ascended on 26 November. And this is the vision that we have, that as a scientific institution, we will advise our minister, and that is MESTI. We are under the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation. We will coordinate all scientific research activities within the country, Ghana. And we will promote and commercialize all our research technologies. And that is where we need you, to commercialize the research technologies and to disseminate the research findings. And this is the opportunity I'm here to disseminate what we have done over the years, and to liaise with international and local bodies in terms of bringing out more research with the universities also on hand, and also perform other functions as given by the minister. And that goes to form our 13 institutions that we have within the CSIR. And our key mission is to generate applied innovative technologies. And at the end of the day, we shall use science to generate money. And that is wealth creation. These are the 13 institutes. And they are here. Animal Research Institute. It means that any research concerning animals, you'll find it at Animal Research Institute. We have Water Research Institute. They handle all research activities on water within our country. We have the Food Research Institute, that's where I come from. Post-harvest management activities, all research, that is where you find us. We handle that. Then we have INSTI. INSTI is the Institute for Scientific and Technological Information. Information, IT, that is where you find it. Science and Technology Policy Research. Policies for the country is by INSTI. That is where we do that. And then we have the industrial research. Agro-processing cannot do with that equipment, and industrial research handles that. Plant genetic resource. We need to conserve our plant genetics, and that is what that institute does. Oil palm, all the oil palm and coconut activities, they are found at Oil Palm Research Institute. Building and road in Kumasi, they also handle all the buildings and road structures within the country. Then we have the agronomic part, Crop Research Institute, also based in Kumasi. They handle all the agronomy of all the crops that we have within our country. We have the Forestry Research Institute. They handle all forestry products and the timbers. And then Soil Research Institute, where all the soil mappings are handled within the country. Then we have the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute that takes care of the ecological challenges within the northern part of the country. So all the research activities, especially the cereals and legumes, that is where you find it, at Asare. Now there's a proposal for the last one, which we shall call biotechnology and biomedical research, looking at the medical part. And we are spread within the whole country. All the regions, you find research institute of CSI, either off station or the actual station. These are the staff. We have a total of 3,506, and these are the senior members, the senior staff, and then the junior staff. When we talk about the senior members, we are talking about those with PhDs, 285. Then we have the MPhil, and then the MSCs, 252, and the BSCs, 600. So this is just a little for you. Mainly, our research fundings comes from the government, in terms of geology for our upkeep. And then we have the donor funds also supporting us. Then we have the internal generated funds. So mainly, that is what we have here. And this is our strategic role for the CSIR. We are looking at CSIR as a research and development, technology development. We will do, in terms of agronomy, we will have our farming. In terms of trading, we are there. Processing, we are there. Transportation, manufacturing, and then retail, as well as the consumer. So we have all covered. And this is the way we are looking at it. We have 7 key pillars. The first is the food security and poverty reduction, biomedical and public health research, climate change, which is new now. Now we are looking at conservation and green energies. We also look at material science. We are looking at electronics, and then information, and energy and petroleum as well, and technology and society. So these are the key areas. Now let me come down to the technologies. In our institute, we have released a lot of varieties. Pepper, cowpea, groundnut, soybean, maize, cassava, sweet potato, yam, cocoa yam, plantain, banana, Crop Research Institute. They handle the agronomy part of the crops that we have within country. They do the releases. So any farming activity you want, when you want better cropping materials, that is your focus point. That is where you have to go. All these have been released by Crop Research Institute and the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute. These are some of it. Varieties that we have for Ghana in terms of cereals, we have maize, rice, sorghum, millet. Grain legumes, we have cowpeas, peanuts, soybean, and these are photos of it. As I was coming, I told Ben that let me make it a PowerPoint presentation so people will see when we say we have varieties. And here we are. These incorporate into the good agronomical practices that we have. These are, for example, the apim, the new varieties we have. We have cocoa, we have the yams, the new varieties of yam, purposely made for export. You know, in export trade, we are not looking at the big yams. We are looking at the portable yams, and then we have it. We have used our technology, vine technologies, to develop all these technologies at Crop Research Institute. New sweet potato varieties, the orange fresh, the pomudin, we have the otu, we have the boshe, and then we have the denania. You see it violet, very excellent in nutritional component. These are all new varieties of sweet potato that we have. Cassava, for example. Now we have cassava purposely made to produce flour, to produce starch, all based on the agronomical practices done by Crop Research Institute and the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute. So here we have the Sikapa Banche, we have the cocoyam varieties here, we have the rice varieties also. And these are some of the maize products we are talking about. When we say we have new varieties, here we have, seen here on the board. And still with the maize, as we are saying now, most of the maize that we have channeled out, 60% of the areas covered in Ghana are based on our maize that we have given out from Crop Research Institute and then the Asare Research Institute. Cowpeas, we have not left them out. The beans, what we call. New varieties on beans now, coming from Asare in the northern region. We have also developed these varieties. So when you are looking at good seeds for your cowpea plantations, you can visit the Asare. Pepper, the bell peppers, peppers for export, and these are the new ones that we have developed. You can see crop research, we have that. That is not all. On rice varieties, the Savannah Agriculture Research is excellent on all the new varieties that we have. When you visit that place, we can give you all the varieties that you need for your planting activities. And these are plantain nurseries. You can come to crop research. We will give you the nurseries at a cost, not free. Anyway, not free, at cost. We give you the planting to have the best plantains that you need, the Akpesey, and then you can use also this for the flour when you want to process. That's value addition. The oil palm, these are some of the new coconuts and then the new palm oils that we have on our schedule. And we have also the nursery where you can buy the seedlings and go straight away, or the nursery plantlets, go plant it for your fruits are not left out. We're also taking care of the mangoes, taking care of oranges and other fruits that we are also in our domain. And there you can visit the Asare Crop Research or Plant Genetics at Bunsu to have access to all these fruits that we have. On animal, I've told you, guinea fowl. We're doing a lot on guinea fowl. Now we have a technology whereby the guinea fowl kids, they are not dying. We can save them. And we are doing that for about 90% of their own station. We are saving them. And that is a very good source of protein that you can have from the guinea fowls. So the technology for guinea fowl, housing them on station, is available as we speak now at Animal Research Institute. Tilapia farming, we also have that at Water Research Institute. The Akosombo strain, which you always will find in most of the waters within Ghana, was developed by the Water Research Institute. And that is also available. As far as Côte d'Ivoire, Mali, they are all coming for these strains. Why not Ghana? Why can't we expand what we're doing? And this is the forum for you, Water Research. And these are some of the ponds at Akosombo. We have our station at Akosombo where you can visit and have a look at these ponds that we have for tilapia, of which that will give you good ideas if you want to go into tilapia farming. Also, we have meat processing. And here at Industrial Research, I told you, they look at the equipment. They have a dryer where you can dry all your meat and your fish products. So when you have the fish and the meat, to add more value, you can do this drying, solar drying. Agro-processing. This is where I also come from, the Food Research Institute. The fufu powder you see on the market, the originators is Food Research Institute. We developed this food, and now it's all over the market. This fufu flour that we have on the market, we acronym it the convenient fufu. There's no time, because everybody is in a hurry to have cassava plantain start from scratch. So this form is your ultimate. For all the working mothers, the working fathers, this is where we are heading to. Now it's big business in Ghana. We can help you set up. We have this technology. The technology belongs to us. Then we have the high quality cassava flour. We have the high quality cassava flour. This sometimes you've heard high quality cassava. What is this? It's basically a flour made from cassava. And this flour can be used in so many things. This flour, we can help you develop it. We can help you set up and produce it. And what are we going to use this flour for? These are some of the products. We can use them in bread. We can use them in biscuits. We can use them in chips, donut, cakes, rough buns, spring rolls, chips, what have you. Any pastry product, you can use the cassava flour as a composite to prepare it. And that will save us from spending so much money in our bakery situations. And that is where we are. Noodles can be developed from all this flour. That is another area you can tap into if you are interested in. We can help you. We can help you set it up. These are the cereals. We have not left them out. We also have the cereal flours, what we call the winning mix. We started the winning mix. Now it's all over. Other agencies have adapted it and it's propagated all over the country. The winning mix, the cereals, the maize, rice, millet, sorghum, converted them into winning mix for children, for the elderly, for the vulnerable, the sick people and all. We have done that. Then we also don't stop there. We also have the dryers. We have processed fruits. We are talking about desiccated coconuts. We also have bottled juices and drinks and syrups, jams, marmalade. All these are product development we have over the years, developed for entrepreneurs within the country. People walk to our offices and say, I have a dream. And what is your dream? I have a fruit in my community. Can you make a juice out of it? Can it be dried? These are some of it. And up there you see the dried, desiccated coconut. We have used mangoes. We now have dried mangoes. We have dried pineapples, dried banana. These are samples of it. We have 2 drying chambers, the wooden one or the mechanical, depending on how strong you are and what your money can afford you. We can help you set up and dry fruits within your community, wherever you are. We also have the high class where we can dry within using mechanical dryers. The plantains, as you can see down there. We dry all these fruits. The fufu pla is there. The glucose syrup and ethanol, also from cassava. The high-quality cassava flour can be used for this. And that is a sample you have down there. That is the sample, the high-quality cassava flour. There you are. The glucose and ethanol. As we speak to you now, we have the support of World Bank to build a structure to process glucose syrup and ethanol, all from cassava. We are almost 95% completed. That is not all. More technologies. The choco smoker that you've heard about on radio, on the TV, was started by Food Research Institute. The choco smoker to reduce the laying on of smoke and then to have a safe fish when it's smoked. You have the technology. And that we can assist you to set it up wherever you are. Now, with Kyei, we have come out with starter cultures, where we don't need to ferment it for that 3 days or 2 days that you can use for your Kyei. Starter cultures, just like the way you process your yogurt, we can do that using Kyei. So now Kyei is going high-tech as time goes on. Mushrooms is another key area that we have done a lot. Oysters, mushrooms. Sometimes you drive through the city, you see these guys selling mushrooms. Package. We call them oysters, mushrooms. We can help you, train you, and then set up. This week, we are even having a training on mushroom. People who want to go and establish mushrooms within their communities. We can help you set it up. These are some of the mushrooms, the medicinal ones, and then the food ones. There are another technology which I have propagated over the years now that I'm waiting for people to take it up. It's called the frozen yam. You know, you buy yam and it's always you have to go home, peel and cut and you do all that. Now, why can't we have yam as convenient yam? And this is the frozen yam technology. Now, yam is frozen. You buy yam from a fridge in a shop, go home, cook and have your Akpesey or you have your chips for yams. And that is the technology we are talking about. Yam is also gone up. And now we have the frozen yam. We have the yam crisps, we have the flour. And this is our crop. The more we add value to it, the more we open up it for export. We have the flash dryer, supported by industrial research, which now we can dry any product within 12 to 15 hours. It used to be 2 days. Now with this machine, we can dry any product within 12 to 15 hours. Tiger nuts, we have a flour out of it. Cream crackers, also made from flour and soya bean. We have cashew, also added value products. We have the instant cashew drink. We have the winning foods also from cashew, which we have developed. Processing equipment, we also into that. We assist industries, agribusiness, to have access to this processing equipment, build it for them, install it, and test run it for them before we leave them. These are some of our further products packaged for export that we have. Drinks from banana, bell peppers for exports that we have helped people to establish. Community outreach. We don't do all this and leave it. We have a community part where we send out the technologies with the support of our funders. And these are some of the community outreach where we are showing them how to process rice, use formulations for rice, and then technology here and pastry products as well. Then forestry, another product which is of interest to us is this product, which we call Lambrasca. It's also very good, and we are making progress with this crop. We have observed that it has oleic acid and stearic acid, of which we can use for so many products. It's a forestry product, and we are making a big noise about this product for operation in agribusinesses. Water, surface water is also another area where we have touched a lot. We do all these water resources in agriculture for livestock and irrigation. Hydrographical surveys, we do that at Water Research Institute, and we can support you when you need to harvest your rain water. Water research is based in Accra here. We have those information, the facility, the technology to do all that. That is not all. Groundwater exploration, water research, we can help you do that. Assessment of your water quality. If you're a processing facility, you need water, you can come over and assess the quality of your water. Whether it's a borehole or it's a pipe water, come over and let's help you assess your water. Then, in terms of salts, we also have mapped some areas within Ghana where we can pinpoint if you have to go into farming. Pinpoint and tell you that this area is good for this particular crop. And that has been done by the Soil Research Institute. With this, it will help you to narrow down on the crop that is good for a particular area. We have done that for the Upper East, and we have done that for the Ashanti region. You see soil research, we have all this information for you. And thematic mapping also has been done by the soil research, which goes a long way to help us in selecting the areas we want to crop and the particular crop we want to do. Energy, we also do a lot there. That is the solar panels. Industrial research, that's a lot on energy, the solar panels. Depending on what you want to do, either is for irrigation, for agriculture, we are there, we can support you. And that is coming from industrial research, which is also based in Accra here. And in support of industry, cook stoves, we are there, we have done a lot. Extraction of herbal properties. So the herbal medicines and industrial research, we can extract the component, the active component for you when you come over. We have all these to assist within the agri-businesses that you want to have. On this note, thank you very much. Yes. That's it. Thank you.
Dr. Tortoe will be around, so if you have questions during the round-robin sessions, you find him and ask him all the questions you want. However, on the various seats, you also have representation from the various units that he spoke about, so you could still do the same with these experts that we have. We want to acknowledge everybody, the presence of everybody here. We have started, so we'll continue. Here in our midst this morning, we have Kacha Murphy from Ogilvy. Kacha. And Ogilvy, our media partner, they support KIC. I think for the entrepreneurs, you met her yesterday. For our guests, they support us in our public publications. And we also have Daily Graphic here. Daily Graphic. Okay, Daily Graphic far back there. And then we also have GTV. You can see them moving around, and also multimedia. We also have in our midst Dr. Courage Besa Adanu, for Food Innovation and Intellectual Property Specialist, is here with us. And we also have Anthony Morrison, the CEO, Chamber of Agribusiness. We'll be interacting with them or engaging with them shortly. At this point, we're going to get to the interactive sessions, and we're going to have our panel to talk to us through how we can build global business right here on this soil locally. So I'm going to introduce the panel to you in no particular order, but I like this man because he used to sign my paycheck some time ago. Mr. Dr. Daniel Asare. Please let's give him a big round of applause. He is the CEO of Isoko Insight. Yes, sir, you can see there. Yes, and like I said, he used to sign my paycheck. He's a very nice gentleman, very knowledgeable in the industry, AgriTech industry, and this morning he will be telling us more about what they do at Isoko, so I won't go deep into that. And the man that, and by the way, Daniel is part of our ideation team, so be nice to him. He will be judging you down the line. We have another ideation team member. Some people like him, some people don't. For various reasons, we don't know. That's what they say. They say it's various reasons, but never tell us what the reasons are. He's very tough and kind, very knowledgeable in finance, and also knows how a startup should really put their their numbers together. That's how I call it. Please let us welcome Prince Jata Akpesey. Prince is the Vice President, Zebu Investment Group. And we have another Prince. So today is royalty all up here. Prince Obeng is agribusiness consultant, and he's from Agribusiness Consult. And the first time I met him was at a forum with Agra, and the knowledge and the passion for agri and youth, you have no idea. You're going to be experiencing him. Please, a big round of applause. I haven't told her yet, but I always tell her, Ivy, I'm always following you on your status, and you're always rooming and putting cookies, ice creams on your status. She loves them, but she also loves technology. She loves young women. She loves to develop them. She's very soft-spoken, but she is tough. I know today she's going to tell us why she was fired from her first job, and it got her to creating Developers in Vogue. He's a co-founder and the lead for Developers in Vogue, and she's been working with a lot of young women in this space. Please, Ivy Bali. And we have another young lady here who also decided to quit her job from the bank and go into setting up her own business. And currently, I understand she sells beyond Ghana. She's going to tell us how she did that, and we can all pick lessons from it. Shall we welcome Abena Agyemang from where, Ghana? Great. And I'm going to be your moderator. So we're going to have a discussion. They're going to be answering some questions for us for the next hour. And you also have opportunity to also ask questions. So please pay attention, note your questions, and when you're ready, you can just... but to start, we're going to do a quick introduction again. They're going to tell you what the various businesses that they represent or they have founded do. So we'll start from Dr. Asare.
All right. Thank you very much, Benjamin, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Ben said, my name is Asare. I actually used to work with Benjamin at Isoko. For those of you who may not have known much about Isoko is one of the first AgriTech companies in Africa. We were started some 10 years ago, and at the time you started, you were only providing market price information to farmers via SMS. And so a farmer could test to code, say 1900, get an instant feedback of the price of maize or rice or any agricultural commodity on his mobile phone. Even here, you still offer that service. You can even try it now and get the price of agricultural commodity on your mobile phone. Over time, you added several other services. You went into voice communication with farmers. You went into water information provision. You went into call centers. You went into e-extension services. And now you do mainly data digitization. Also, you have a bit of what we started with. We've worked in quite a number of African countries. You're currently operating about in 20 countries in Africa, but the head office is right here in Ghana. Isoko was started here, right here in Ghana, some 10 years ago. And so you've been really one of the pioneers when it comes to AgriTech, and then also more recently in data digitization, data collection services, data analytics, and so on and so forth. So as the conversation goes on, you get to know more about what Isoko really do. For myself, I have a background also in agricultural economics from KIei and UST. So those of you who went to tech, I'm one of you. I have a background also in geoinformation science, and then I have a tertiary background in agricultural economics again. So thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Ivy, and I'm one of you because I was at Tech as well. I run developers in, before I talk about what I do at Developers in Vogue, I studied mathematical statistics for my master's program in KNUST, and I used to go for lots of developer meetings in Ghana, and most of the times when I go, I'm either the only woman or one of the few women. So I was wondering why the women weren't coming at all. Is it that they were not interested, or maybe they didn't know about the opportunities that existed for them? And so my co-founder, Maxwell, and I decided to start Developers in Vogue, mainly to create more opportunities for women in technology. And so we provide a practical and project-oriented curriculum for ladies who want to learn how to code or how to build software, and then we connect them to job opportunities as well. So I'm sure as time goes on, I'll speak more about what we do at Developers in Vogue, but in a nutshell, I really support women in the work I do. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Really delighted to be here, especially for the fact that I can see some very good faces I call partners in crime. Andy of Barclays is here, and my good old friend is also over there. From my education background, I did geography and archaeology. So the archaeomates, if you're in here, we have a very good brother here. Then I did business administration at the University of Dortmund, Germany. I did MBA in Free University of Brussels in Belgium. I'm a marketeer professionally, but for the fact that I studied in Germany, in fact, I worked throughout the years. Every vacation I was working either with Bosch in Stuttgart, Mercedes, Porsche, or Alcatel in Sophenhausen. So I speak more engineering than marketing, and I call it marketing engineering. Over the years, I've worked with Unilever. I was once the marketing director. I worked with Ghana Nuts. I worked with International Oil and Fats, the first African-made share fractionation plant. We co-built it. Currently, managing agribusiness consult. And like a spider, I have my 8-10 fingers in various projects. Basically, I focus today on the grains value system and oil and fats value system. As we move on, guys who really want to know more about how to move crops into categories to meet consumer demand, I think we can have a very fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Abena. I am co-founder of Where Ghana. And at Where Ghana, at the heart of everything we do lies the unflinching belief that Africans must solve Africa's problems. We are using our company to solve the problem of clothing when it comes to alternatives of clothes made here for Africans. We work with 3 main types of customers. So we have individuals who want to look amazing. We also work with companies. We've had the opportunity to do stuff for MTN, DHL, West African Gas Pipeline. It's still growing. And then we also work with stores who are looking for another revenue stream. So we stock, for example, Shop and Save supermarkets. This year we are looking to really improve our distribution, not just in Ghana, but across Africa. So you'll be seeing us in a lot of interesting spaces. And if there's anyone here who wants to have a conversation about the opportunities, please, let's have a conversation afterwards. I'm really excited to be here because we are very passionate about entrepreneurship and the role that it has to play when it comes to where Africa has to move into. And so Cosmos has been at our heart. We are very delighted that you guys thought of Where Ghana. And so we've brought you a token of a branded shirt for the Cosmos Innovation Center. I'll open it. I'm hoping this gets the ahua, that thing you guys are doing. But yeah, so this is for, we brought 2 of these, but this is for the Cosmos Innovation team. We'll be more than delighted to make it for the entire Cosmos group.
Well, I think when we finally move into space, we will just put it there. So okay, I can find stuff on here, so I'll get them to do a
Okay. Like Benjamin said, my name is Prince Akpesey. I work for Zebu Investment Partners. We're a private equity fund that specializes in investing in companies operating along the food and agri value chain. We like food. We think that everybody must eat. And so we try to help companies operating in different parts of the chain to scale up what they are doing. We manage 2 funds. There is the Africa Agriculture Fund SME sub-fund, which is the $36 million fund that we manage. We have 8 investments in 8 different African countries out of that fund. We recently, in November, achieved first close for our second fund, which is a $100 million fund, which is aiming to make investments in the middle tier of the SME space on the continent. I spent some time before I joined Acumen. Before I joined Zebu, I spent some time with Acumen Fund, which is an impact investor and a much more early stage investor in their West Africa regional office, originating and managing transactions in the sub-region. Before that, I was a banker. I did a whole lot of things in the bank for quite a while. Academically, I went to Legon, and I have a master's from the Cranfield University School of Management.
Good Morning, everybody. Let me first of all take this opportunity to thank Cosmos for the privilege to sit here and be one of the panelists. My name is Abigail Harley, and I work for AI Energy. AI Energy Group is into the marketing, supply, and distribution of petroleum products in downstream, in midstream, and also in upstream, all over Africa, and yet to get to the ends of the world. And we do this by various means, by road tankers. We do this distribution by tanker barges. We are yet to get into the aviation space. And that leads me to the next. This is all done by AI Energy and Petroleum. And the various means by which this is done takes us into the next subsidiary of the group, which is AI Logistics, where we have our road tanker, road trucks, and then our tanker barges that we use in this distribution. So logistics takes care of all of that. And because we do this so excellently, it leads us to the next subsidiary of the group, which is AI Support Services, where we have most of the clients and even existing clients and new clients coming to us to ask for various services that are not directly related to what we do, but sort of like ancillary services across the around what we do. So AI Support Services also does deals in lubricants, marine lubricants, lubricants for vehicles, vessel hire, and a whole lot of other things. So in a nutshell, this is who I am, and this is what I do. Thank you.
Please do it better for the panel. Yes. So you'll be wondering, why do we have a petroleum person here? Why do we have a clothing person here? Entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship. We have other experts for the core areas also seated amongst you, and you're going to be using the principles that you'll be getting from these entrepreneurs to apply into your chosen field. Right. So I'm going to start with you, Daniel. You said Isoko is operating in how many countries now? 20 countries. And at some time we are going to some part of Europe and Mexico and all that. How did Isoko start? And at what point did you think, because at the time you were moving into Mexico and all that, you were literally a startup. How did it happen?
All right, thanks once again. Right, so like I said earlier, when Isoko started in Ghana, right here in Ghana, the time is, those of you who live in Accra or have lived in Accra for some time, if you know Busy Internet Building at Circle, that's where we started from. Indeed, we are still there. That's where our office is still is now. When we started, you realize that right from the beginning that Ghana is a small place. I mean, at the time, back in the year 2008, 2007, the population was just about 22 or so million. And so when we really want to develop a global business, you need to look beyond your current, your immediate environment. One thing that for me personally, I got to learn earlier on in my career is that when I went to Netherlands for my master's degree, and I began joining classes with people from all over the world, I learned that these guys have a global orientation to whatever they are trying to do. Right? So people are always looking at for, okay, you want to do this in this country, you want to do that in this country, blah, blah, blah. And then in my own thinking as a typical Ghanaian, grew up in Kumasi, moved to Accra, all kind of stuff, we've always looked at our immediate environment as the whole world. Right? And so for me, that really kind of set me thinking, what really can we really do to go beyond our comfort zone and do things much more broadly? And so when I joined Isoko back in 2012, we had basically still been operating in Ghana, some extent in West Africa, a few places in Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Benin. But then you still saw that these markets are still largely undeveloped when it comes to ICT service for the agricultural sector. And so immediately you began looking elsewhere, particularly in East Africa, where the AgTech companies is really, really developed, particularly in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and so on and so forth. And so we set up our office in Kenya, and then within a year or two, we had moved into Tanzania, we had moved into Uganda, and doing projects all over the place. The thing is that when you really want to succeed as an entrepreneur, you need to look beyond what your immediate market offers. But then you also need to learn that your service needs to be mature before you can take it elsewhere. I think you did make a bit of mistake also at some point when you began to explore and expand quite rapidly, that you found out that your systems and perhaps your technology itself may not be able to service that large market as you begin to expand. And so the lesson that we learned at the time was, okay, take a minute, look at your system, you look at your technology that you have developed and see where you can strengthen before you begin to really go into an expansion drive. Right, so first of all, you make a mistake. I mean, mistakes in business should be seen as a normal thing. When you don't fail, you don't learn. It is when you fail, you apply the lesson that you have seen in your failures. That's what you can actually learn as an entrepreneur. One thing that I didn't say about myself, that I'm also a farmer, a practicing farmer actually. So I manage a mango plantation. We are doing mango drying, like the doc was talking about. I'm also into poultry, right? But the thing is, you got to be able to have the passion for all of these things before you can actually do them very well. And so we at Isoko, we saw that, okay, Ghana, like I said, for AgTech and all these things, Ghana may not be able to service all the things that we want to do, particularly if you want to generate multiple or million-dollar revenues as a company. And you got to look elsewhere. You got to look elsewhere, not only in Africa, but also beyond elsewhere. Maybe as the conversation goes, I will probably share a lot of lessons also with you. But what you learn is that there's still a lot of challenge you're gonna encounter, you're gonna be able to surmount them. One thing is when you begin to sell your technologies beyond your country, first of all, particularly being an African country, being a black entrepreneur, people will see you always with a bit of suspicion. They may not trust you that much. And so if a company in Germany, for instance, is developing a product, your product should be much, much better than that particular product before people can really begin and accept you and use your services. And that is one disadvantage that you have as Africans, as Ghanaians, entrepreneurs. That there's that kind of barrier you always need to cross, that mental, that preconception that people have about Africans. It's still going to pray and going to pray hard against you if you are not strong enough to be able to cement them. So what you learn is that whatever you are developing, our technological solution need to be very strong. It needs to be robust. It needs to be able to be compared to any other product, any other technology developed elsewhere in the world. And that's what you use to develop our products and services that have taken us up to this point.
So I'll come to you. At this question, I want Ivy and Arabna to take it. Should a startup, building on Daniel's question and his response, should a startup first establish themselves in Ghana to look into the international market, or can we say that there's a startup that is born global? I hope my question is clear. So, and what are the characteristics that a product must have or a company must have to be born global, if there is any?
Okay, I'll talk based on my experience as an entrepreneur so far. And so first of all, it's important to think big but start small. And just like Doc rightly said, you can have so many things you want to achieve, but also know that as a startup, you may not have all the resources you need. And when I talk about resources here, I'm not just referring to money. It can be your team. It can be access to markets, etc. And so when we started Developers in Vogue, we, of course, had a very big dream to be able to expand our work to other African countries, but primarily wanted to be sure that we're getting things right and getting the basics right first before we can think of taking it elsewhere. And so with what we offer, they're actually in twofold, so I'll just briefly talk about each of them. So one has to do with the training of women. And for the training, we need to have a venue. There's a lot of logistics involved because the women come to a physical space to come and do the training. And then there's another side of our business whereby we take projects from clients for the ladies to work on, and then we pay the ladies, we take a commission. And so that's the other side of it. And for that, we can do it anywhere and don't necessarily need to have an office space, or we don't need to have a physical premises to be able to execute that part of our business. And so that part is easier to scale as compared to the training aspect, especially because of the model we are running. And also, we want our class sizes to be small enough so that it's effective for the women. And so it's quite difficult to scale such, like considering the things we have in mind to achieve. And so first of all, knowing what exactly your business is about and knowing what kind of market you want to meet, or what kind of demand you want to meet on the market. And so with the part that has to do with taking projects and then getting the ladies to work on, etc., we are able to work on projects from different parts of the country and different parts of Africa because everything is remote. The clients make payments, we give to the ladies, they work on the project, the client gets the project back, etc. And so you really need to think about the logistics behind whatever you want to build. So for example, if your solution is supposed to help farmers to do something in particular, if you don't at the moment have what you need to be able to take it somewhere else, something you can consider, that's after you've made sure that you've worked on your products and you're sure that your product is good enough to take to the market, then you can work with existing partners in other countries. So let's say you want to now take your work to Kenya. You may not necessarily have to be in Kenya physically to make it happen, but you can work with some strategic partners who are based in that country so that you can still get to do the work you want to do with limited resources. And it's very important that you build your processes as well. And so right now, there are so many things you want to do. You make a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned from my mistakes and it has made me wiser. And when I say wiser, it's not because I have this hair. So I'm not growing gray hair anyway, but I'm just trying to say that the experiences have been very instrumental to us being able to scale our work and to be able to make more impact. So you really need to consider the business that you have in mind and what kind of markets it meets. And sometimes your business can be in Ghana and you can still achieve a lot when it's in Ghana. Okay, and maybe the last thing I also mention is that most of the problems we have in Ghana can be found almost anywhere else in Africa. And so the challenges we have in Africa are quite universal. So if you have a solution and you're able to get it right in Ghana, it's very easy for you to take it to Nigeria or to take it to another part of Africa. So it's very important that you at least spend some time to get things right. And when I say get things right, I don't mean have your solution built 100%. Of course, you need to have a prototype that you take to the market, test it, learn from it, and then keep improving. But fundamentally, just make sure you invest a lot of time to at least get your products right before you can take it to other parts of Africa or maybe the world. Thanks.
Any business building a tabletop business, because research has shown that by 2048, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you need to speak.
Hi, can you hear me? It's a microphone.
There's another microphone.
Hi, is this better? Okay, so I was saying that I think that African entrepreneurs no longer have the luxury of building small businesses. Reason being that research has shown that by 2050, Africa will have the world's largest workforce. We'll have a lot of people who will be needing jobs. And it is my hope that as entrepreneurs, these are some of the thoughts that run through our minds. That said, I think that it's a mindset thing. And so if you are an entrepreneur that's starting now with limited resources, which usually is the case, knowing that you want to build a global business, then you want to build something that's scalable. And the way I like to think of it is, for example, if I wanted to have this pull-up banner, so the picture on the pull-up banner, if I took a selfie with my phone and I took it to the guys who print it, they'll tell me it will pixelate. The selfie will pixelate because they can't print it. If they tried printing it, the picture wouldn't come out the way it is. If I know I want to have a picture that sits on a pull-up banner or a big picture, then right from the start, I have to take the picture with certain types of cameras. And so knowing that you are trying to build a global business and that you're going to blow this business up, you're trying to build something that's tight. And like Ivy said, so your processes must be replicable. And sometimes that's the real challenge. It's not the market. Often I've found it's not the market. So you come to a point where you realize, oh, everyone wants my products, as is in the case of Ghana, where we've had the opportunity to test and see what kind of demand we would have if we tried to move out of Ghana right now. We realize it's really exciting, and yet we have to come back to the basics to try and build processes which are replicable, almost as though you were writing a mathematical formula for your business, so that if I'm in Kenya, the products that I am giving to my Kenyan customers can match the quality of the products and the service that I'm delivering in Ghana or in Uganda or wherever across the world that I'm going. But I think it's a mindset thing, because if that mindset is there, then you realize that down the journey, you will not be satisfied with results that you are getting in your current locality. And I think that sometimes you have an idea, you have a passion that you realize doesn't work here. So the market isn't ready for it, like Daniel mentioned. I don't think that you have to sit in Ghana because you're Ghanaian. You can go into another market, learn what it takes to work in there. But no matter where you are starting this business from, I think that as Africans, we don't have the luxury anymore of building small subsistence businesses, because very, very soon we'll have a lot of people looking for work. We already have them. In Ghana, it's 48% unemployed young people. So yeah, I think it starts with a mindset.
Interview. So it becomes very important. But I'll ask my two princes. Do you think having more international early stage investors funding Ghanaian startups would help us develop more global Ghanaian companies? If so, what can we do to attract more foreign investors to Ghana, such as the angel investors, the early stage investors, and others?
So I'd like to look at this question this way, and I'd like to ask this. What is an international investor coming to fund? Okay. We need to sort of understand the startup life cycle. And I think that when we do that, some of the things will clear up about probably the way that we think about this. So everybody who deploys funds in a company has one goal: to get those funds back and get some return on those funds. No, despite what anybody would tell you, if they tell you anything else, they are lying to you. It's that basic. So what is my money coming to fund? What type of return am I looking for? Funders, international funders, local funders, everybody looks for what I said, return of capital plus return. So if whatever it is that they are coming to fund is something that will generate or will take them a lot of work to generate returns, and before they get their money back and then begin to think about making some profit on it, a lot of people will take a step back. Let me give you an example. If in 2004 somebody came to me and said that I have 2 companies for you to invest in. There's a Ghanaian company that is doing something revolutionary, let's say in the agri space in Ghana, and there's another company called Facebook, right? So I have a choice between the two. Part of the thought process that we go through is, which of these is scalable? Which of these can make me outsized returns? So I'm not only looking for returns, I'm looking for outsized returns, because that's how I make money. So is this something that can be used by probably maybe 1 million people, or is this something that can be used by 100 million people? So it's not necessarily about international funders coming in, foreign funds or anything like that. It's more about what are they coming to fund? What are the ideas they are coming to fund? What are the businesses they are coming to fund? But most importantly, where are those businesses in the funding cycle? Sometimes you find someone with an idea, and then the first thing they think about is, I want a bank loan to implement this idea. My friend, Mr. Hiaku, would tell you that, I mean, please, okay? You need to understand when you need to start asking people for money. In the very early stages, and I am somewhat privy to how Arabna started out. And if you follow them, you can see at every stage they were doing something, and there was a plan behind it. Because when you don't have a lot of money to run the big marketing campaign and stuff like that, you do things differently. And probably 5 years down the line, there would be a very good case study for how to take an idea from point A to the point where probably it becomes global. So where in the cycle are you beginning to ask people for money? Is it when you have the idea? Is it when you haven't even run a prototype or developed a pilot? You begin to ask people for money when you can show that other people are willing to pay you for that product or that service. So when I used to work in the much more early stage funding, and I'm happy to say that I led our investment at the time in Isoko, and but why did we do that deal? For example, we did that deal because you could see that this was a company that had a product, or they had an idea, they built it into a product, they had perfected it, it was being paid for, so you could see money coming in. Then at that point, people are prepared to put money in. So my answer would not be what people like to hear, but then I think that it's not really a matter of international investors coming in to invest that would make Ghanaian businesses go international. It's more the other way around, that Ghanaian businesses that are doing very well